I'm so glad that you joined us. I'm Mel, and this is
Rachel.
Rachel Scott. She is an educational expert. She is a senior yoga teacher. She is
Buddy.
Friend. Funny friends. And this is part of our mentoring series, and to support new teachers and fellow teachers. And we're focusing on business of yoga. And I say that, and I say that also that it's still very much connected to your authenticity, your integrity, your deep essential passion of your teaching, and then translating that into how to have a sustainable, vital, joyful career.
Yes. And I love this next topic that we're going to talk about because I feel like it really addresses, it gets to the kernel of, I'm a yoga teacher, I feel that there's a sense of scarcity, right, out there sometimes in getting a job, or I feel like I'm at the whim of others. So our question for this session is like, how do I say no? Like no to a class, no to an opportunity. How do I know when to say no, and when do I do that? Because I don't know about you, but when I was a new yoga teacher, and even now, it's like someone offers me, I have a hard time saying no. Someone offers you a gig and you're like, of course I have to say yes to everything. And there is an element when we're starting off of needing to say yes to a lot of things in order to get out there and get experience. But so when do we say no?
Yeah. When do we say no?
Yeah.
It's so good. You know, it makes me, two things go through my head. And one is that the very realness, not only when to say it, but when you do say it, that it's a complete sentence. So good friend, Caitlin Walker, amazing therapist, she always says that to me. She's like, no is a complete sentence. Thank you. Yes, it is. So knowing that you can say no and not have to like overly explain it or what have you.
Right.
Supporting that strength of that. And then, you know, when do you do it? You know, I go to when does it not feel right?
Yes.
And I feel things in my body. So I it's like clockwork. I feel that, and then I say yes. And then I'm like, and that gets more and more and more. And I think, why did I say yes to this?
Yes.
And I suffer like all the days leading up to it. And the day I do it, it's, you know, because it just wasn't right.
And then it's sucky. So that feeling.
Not good for them either.
Not good for them either. Yeah, it doesn't work either way. And I think we think that our no is going to disappoint someone, and it will. So just accept that and be, you know.
Yeah, initially, but it's probably going to be the best thing for them.
Better thing in the long run, right? So yeah, to say no clearly and early is good. And sometimes it takes, we were talking about practicing. You can practice your no. If you have a hard time saying no, practice your no on friends and family. Even just practice the conversation of, thank you so much for that opportunity. It's not the right fit right now.
Can I wear your shirt?
No.
See? Yes. So you practice and set it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please.
And saying no in a way that also, you know, like sometimes it's important to say no to additional classes.
Sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. Or say no to an opportunity. I had an opportunity a few weeks ago with my studio, and it would have required me, one, subbing out a class that I was already teaching, two, traveling like an hour round trip. And it was kind of like, that's not in alignment with what I want to do. And to be aware that just because they want it doesn't mean that it's a great thing.
Yes. And what I'm hearing you say, and I just want to support, is sustainability. So does this, if you say yes, is it sustainable for your personal energy? Is it sustainable for your family? Is it sustainable for your emotional well-being?
Yes.
And whether short term or long term.
And what I hear and what you've just said too is to look at your whole life. So
Yes.
to remember that your yoga career is part of your life, should serve the whole of your life. But that, you know, just because it's great for your yoga career doesn't mean that it's going to be great for, like you said, your family, your friends, your personal energy. So we can, when we calibrate to, hey, would this be great for my yoga career? Yes. Is this great for my relationship? No, and then we can make a more mindful choice about it.
Mm-hmm.
That the yoga career itself is not the only barometer of what should go into our decisions.
Absolutely. I would also say, like, and you know, Rachel just said, like, oh, I have to drive an hour, right? So you really have to take in consideration, like, what is the wear and tear? So yes, the class is from 12:30 to 1:30, but what's going to be the wear and tear to get there, and the cost of that, and does it work out? So, you know, to say no if it's going to put you, you know, in a depleted space in any way.
Yeah.
I will also just want to say, and I know I'm jumping because I could feel, because I know you have something good, but the aspect of, like, your no opens up a yes to somebody else. And I feel like that's a way, like, when we feel like, oh, I'm going to let them down, but I'm making space. There's a generosity to it, because it's not right for me, but it's going to be right for somebody else.
I love that. No, that's super. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I was just I was going to say, oh, just because you say no now too doesn't mean that you won't change your mind about other things later on. Like, say I say no to a class now. I say no, and then, you know, 2 months later, I'm like, wow, I really have the space and the resources for that. You can always reopen a conversation about things.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to feel like a yes or a no is forever. And it's kind of like, no,
So true.
let it be resilient. Let it,
For right now.
yeah, life is full of cycles and patterns, and things change. And so, you know, just because we're closing a door doesn't mean you can't ever go back and open it up again when it feels right.
Absolutely. With that as well, it's funny, you came right through, and then I lost it. But the aspect of also, when you say no, the how, I think, is important. Obviously, I think maybe it's completely obvious. Like, our no we don't want to be a rude no. No.
No.
No.
No, you can't wear my shirt.
No.
Jerk.
Total. Okay? So we get that, right? But then there's this aspect of, and maybe you have some of this in you. I call it like a good girl syndrome, right?
Oh,
but it's like,
nice
you
girl.
know, and then you make up something.
Yeah, don't make up something.
No, don't lie. Don't lie. Keep it a strong, solid, high vibration. If you feel like you'd like to offer a reason why, you know, it coincides with my child's care. It's just not a good fit for my family. If you want to give that information, you can, but don't make things up. Don't say, well, blah, 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 blah.
That's like saying, oh, I don't want to date you because I'm not dating anyone right now. And then you turn around and date someone else, and then they find out, and then you feel like a jerk. Not that
Sure.
that ever happened to me in my younger years.
No. Well, I just feel like doors do shut, and you have a less connection to your truth gauge. You know, when you feel like, when you start to fib is a polite way of saying lie.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
No is a complete sentence. You do not have to justify your no. If it feels wrong, it feels wrong. And that is truth enough. That is enough.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about
I
that?
think that's good.
Okay.
You inspired me to say no. I feel more inspired about my own no's now. So thank you for this. It's
Good. Good. No.
No.
Well, maybe. Bye.